that second episode, you're like, oh my god, all right, what happened to you?
Yeah, man, puberty hit hard for Cad
Yeah.
Bane.
The Force of Others, a Star Wars podcast.
Hello there, and welcome to the Force of Others. I'm Matt Boitner.
And I'm Zachary Owen Turner, and today we are talking about everything that we've missed in the past month because of Andor Season 2. We're talking Tales of the Underworld, we're talking The Mask of Fear, and we're going to head over to our Canon Comics Corner to talk about a bunch of the new comics that come out, because man, was May a buffet of Star Wars. But before we get to all that, our podcast is about hearing perspective of other people and getting involved with the community of Star Wars, and so we're going to head over to the mailbag, and we have a question from Rocky Westbrook. Matt, how would you rank your favorite Star Wars openings and closings?
So, favorite Star Wars beginnings and endings. There's a lot of good beginnings. Revenge of the Sith obviously comes to mind. I don't know that there is a better space battle ever put to film, right? I'm a sucker for A New Hope. Just the classic, the little ship flies over you and then the giant ship flies over you. But if I'm honest with myself, my favorite Star Wars opening is from one of my least favorite Star Wars movies, and you probably know where I'm going. I'm a sucker for an in media res opening, and I really dig the way Rise of Skywalker just throws you into the fire. I like a beginning that punches you in the face, grabs your lapels, and is like, "We're going on a ride! Be ready!" So, even though Kylo does goofy professional wrestling moves with his lightsaber in that first fight, and even though we established that Palpatine is back because reasons, and pickled Snokes, all that weird stuff, I do love that opening. But what about you? What's your favorite opening?
I really like, so I mean, there's so many great openings, but I really love when they change it from something that we know but keep it in the same vein. And so I really like the opening of Force Awakens, where it's it's the ship going across, we're gonna go across the sky. We're dancing, in case you can't see us. We just did the Pulp Fiction triangles, but that's how the ship is. Instead of it coming over top, you're kind of looking up at it, which I thought was a really cool new perspective on it. I love Episode 3, though, too. The same thing being in media res, where it's like, cool, we're in a spaceship battle. Everything's moving. Let's go, let's go, let's go. It keeps the story moving, and when it comes to D&D, I'm always starting in media res.
Yeah.
What about your favorite closing?
So, Return of the Jedi's up there. And it might eventually end up my favorite again. And I'm not talking about Yub Nub. I'm talking about the the newer version. Yub Nub is a jam, though. Well, I challenge Star Wars canon to work Yub Nub back into something at some point. But my favorite Star Wars ending is from the sequel trilogy again.
Oh.
And it's Force Awakens. I think that is the perfect way to end that story. That you hold off the actual legacy bearer of the Jedi till the last moment. And he doesn't say anything. Because I don't know about you, but me, I'd been waiting literally my entire life to see more Luke Skywalker. Right? Never thought I would, and then they make you wait longer, but it's because the story is about Rey. Yeah. And this was Rey's story. And so now you're just going to see, how does Luke Skywalker fit into that? And I think it's incredible. I think it's the only real cliffhanger. You could say Empire Strikes Back is a cliffhanger, but kinda, I guess. But that one, they're literally on a cliff. So I love that whole scene. I didn't really explain why, but the point is I love it, and that's my favorite ending. So what about you?
I was thinking about this, and Return of the Jedi comes to mind for sure as well. I love Yub Nub. I love those original songs.
Oh,
I
sure.
love Jedi Rocks too, so come at me in the comments. But I don't know if it's just the recency bias, but rewatching Episode 3 so many times recently, and just hearing people talk about it, I love the end of Episode 3. I love the, looking off into this twin suns as Obi-Wan, and these strong men hand off these babies to strong women, and It's beautiful. I'm stealing a little bit of analysis from that. I can't remember her name. That Lance talked about.
Lance brought it up on the Camille Baglia.
Yes, Camille Baglia.
Yeah.
If you ever want to hear somebody break down an awesome Star Wars moment, go and listen to her, because she's really convinced me that it is one of the most beautiful endings, and the music's there, and in the back of my head I get the story of Ewan McGregor talking about his last day on set, which he talks about just being on a big green couch and like swaying because he's walking on this camel emu thing. But yeah, no, I love that ending. So.
Yeah, that's a good one. I forgot about that. That's one of my favorite musical moments.
Yeah.
In the whole franchise. That George is just like, none of my dialogue is going to do this, but Johnny can. So just play us out. Finish it.
Play that song. All right. Well, if you would like to ask us questions, or if you have any comments for us, or want to be on the show, email us at forceofothersradio@gmail.com, and we will put your questions at the top of the show, or get back to you in person, or get in the comments, and we'll talk there. But we want to connect with you, so connect with us. But as for how our weeks have gone, we're going to go back into our regular show mode. Sorry, it's early and I've had very little coffee. Matt, how was your week? How was your Star Wars week?
My week was, I don't want to say unremarkable, but kind of unremarkable. It was just a chill week. Enjoyed time recording. It's Tuesday the 27th. Enjoyed Memorial Day. It was Memorial Day yesterday or Labor Day?
Memorial
God,
Day.
that's how bad that is. Wow. Well, either way, Jenny and I just kind of kicked it, and we kept going with our Stranger Things rewatch.
Cool.
Because season 5 comes out sometime in the next year and a half. I don't know. Either way, we just got to relax, and that was good. As for my Star Wars week, obviously there's all the content that we're going to talk about today and everything that's been happening, but 2 events kind of came across just the ticker of my mind. One being that Star Wars officially turned 48 years old on Sunday. Yeah. May 25th, 1977 was when Star Wars began, and 5/25/2025 was on Sunday. And I was sitting here going, man, there's a lot of synergy with those numbers. I should have done something for the show, but I forgot about it. So, and I had a little work to do this weekend, but anywho. But it was just really cool. Star Wars is 48, and that is crazy. But then the other way that it found me was something that I don't really get. There's a lot of people online that managed to get Battlefront 3 trending.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, my favorite meme reaction that I saw was the Cassian Andor quote from Rogue One, where he's like, "So now the rebellion is real for you. I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old." It's like all these people talking about Battlefront 3, and it's like, goons, what are you talking about? I've been like, anyway. But for some reason, I don't know if it's May the 4th or Andor ending or whatever, but a lot of people wanted to scratch a Star Wars video game itch, and Battlefront 2 set a new record for players playing at the same time over the weekend. So, with the rights still belonging to EA and DICE to some degree, it will be 5 to 6 years before a game comes out. Were they able to get it done? And I don't know that it will. But in the meantime, if you haven't played Battlefront 2, play Battlefront 2. It's cool. Yeah. But what about you, dude? How was your week? How did Star Wars find you this week?
Yeah, I had a busy week. Memorial Day weekend is surprisingly very busy for restaurants. I did 210 people by myself on Sunday night, so I was very tired yesterday. But yesterday went out, and there was a street fair on Broadway, and so we walked the street fair for a bunch, and got some. I'm a huge fan of corn, the roasted corn at the street fairs. I don't know about you guys, but it's one of my favorite things in the entire world. So it's like, we're walking until we find the corn, and then we can do other things. But yeah, it was fun. Got a little sunburnt, but still very fun. And then just been kicking it, playing some video games. But speaking of video games and Battlefront 2, some other things also came out of all of this buzz, which is that Battlefront 2... the original Battlefront 2 for like old PSP and all of that, the creators of that tweeted, "Let's get the band back together."
Ooh.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe we can get the OG Battlefront 2 because that is
Whoa.
truly one of the best Star Wars games of all time.
Oh, yeah.
The new Battlefront 2 is fun too.
Yeah.
But also there's a rumor, and take all of these with a grain of salt, but that Iden Versio from Battlefront 2 is going to be in Ahsoka.
Wow, I didn't see that. That's cool.
Yeah, so we'll
Oh, you know who she's gonna play?
herself.
Well, no, she that actor, and I don't remember her name right now, but she voiced Ahsoka's mom on Tales of the Jedi. The first episode, it's Ahsoka's her birth, and then her kind of first Jedi adventure when she's like a baby. And I can't remember. We gotta give credit. Iden Versio, actor. Janina Gavankar. There we go.
Yes.
So if she's, Filoni wrote Tales of the Jedi exclusively, and so he's not gonna have her show up unless she's playing Ahsoka's mom, and that would make sense if we're going more to see in Afterlife-y, Netherworld of the Forcey.
But also,
I could see that.
Iden Versio is still alive, isn't she?
At that point on the timeline, absolutely, yes, she is.
Yeah. So we could get a double.
Yeah, she could play. She could do the. She could get the. Oh my gosh, names are escaping me right now. The actor that plays Snoke, and Smeagol, and
Andy Serkis.
Kino Loy. Yeah, you get the Andy Serkis treatment, but on the same show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play both of my Star Wars characters at once. Probably not, but that's cool. I didn't see that one. Good pull.
So we'll see. Hopefully, I'm excited. I think she's a great actress, and that story mode of that game is actually very good. Better than the Flight Squadron game that was so hard to play. And I'm not surprised that Flight Squadron didn't get any new players.
Yeah. I never did play Squadrons. Long-time listeners know I don't want to say I'm bad at video games, but I'm bad at finishing them. When I have downtime, the video games that I play are like old school Madden because it's modded out to death on my computer, and I have rosters from the 90s. So I'm replaying the NFL. But what were you about to say?
Last thing with video games, I started the final chapter of Star Wars Outlaws with Hondo Onaga.
Yeah.
And he's perfect. He's absolutely perfect. You meet him in a prison cell, and he has no crew, and you're like, "That's amazing. That's exactly
awesome.
where I thought he would be."
Awesome.
So, mild spoilers for the start of it's not Wild Card, but one of the Up the Ante or Wild Card or whatever.
It's like Fortune's Favor or
Fortune's
something.
Favor,
yeah. Well, anyway, whatever. Yeah. Speaking of video games, I need to finish. I need to finish Outlaws.
You do. It's actually very good.
That's what I should have been doing. Whatever, it's fine. I can't treat video games like something I have to do. I do have a job, but anyway. Well, we brought up Tales of the Jedi. So, sticking with the Tales of theme, Tales of the Underworld came out, the third of these Tales of blank shows. I thought it was very funny when Tales of the Jedi first happened, and then a season 2 got announced. Everybody was like, what Jedi are they going to do? What Jedi are they going to do? It looks like it's going to be different every time. We got Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, and now Tales of the Underworld. But, Zach, opening thoughts for this third season of Tales of.
Yeah, I thought, so I really liked a lot of it. I don't think that they kind of knocked it out of the park that they did with the previous two Tales of the. I still liked it a lot, but I feel like Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire added more to stories that we knew or knew little about in a way that was more informative and more ingenuitive and fun than these two did.
Cool.
That being said, I think they're cool. I think one is very predictable, and I think the other was less predictable and more fun. So those are kind of my opening thoughts. What about you?
Well, do you want to go ahead and tell them which one was predictable and which
I
one
thought
wasn't?
the Cad Bane was super predictable.
Sure.
I thought it was. I was like, okay, cool. Yep, that's young Indiana Jones, and he's gonna shoot his friend, and okay, cool. And that's his son. He's blue. Yep, aha, called it all. I wasn't surprised by anything, which is kind of why I was like, all right. I mean, it's cool, but all right.
Right on. So opening thoughts. I like these Tales of shows. I like these kind of single-serving Star Wars, like K-Cups, but for Star Wars. And I want, this is the Star Wars tone that I enjoy.
Yeah.
That is what I will say. Was it amazing? No. Oddly enough, I liked it better than Tales of the Empire. I think Tales of the Jedi is hands down my favorite of these three. It's not even close. The Dooku episode alone, I think, is some of the best storytelling that the final episode, some of the best storytelling that we've gotten in the Disney era, in my opinion. I thought Tales of the Empire was super boring. And I thought this was...
Really? You didn't like the Inquisitor arc?
I thought it was fine, but it just didn't... I was not wowed by it. I was like, cool. All right, we know what happened to Barriss now, kind of. At the start of this, we thought, there's like, is she dead? Is she alive? And at the end of it, we're like, is she dead? Is she alive? Which was fine. But to talk about what we're talking about here, I thought these were both cool. Biggest thing is I liked that we went back to... I don't want to say we went back to, but that this is the Star Wars tone poem storytelling style. We are going to move these characters forward in an arguably too simple, but mythological, archetypal way.
Yeah. Right?
Where something major is going to happen. The characters are going to have major choices to make every 5 to 10 minutes. And I enjoyed that. But, Zach, your biggest likes for Tales of the Underworld.
Yeah, I love witchy magic in Star Wars. I love witchy magic in general, but I love witchy magic in Star Wars. I loved seeing Quinlan Vos and figuring out how she's alive. And I'm so glad that they explained it and they didn't just that story doesn't exist anymore. Because that book is really beautiful, and I was really mad about it. And they literally said, hey, I know you're mad. Guess what? It's okay. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I love that it's kind of an Orpheus and Eurydice story, too, with that, where it's like, hey, you have to give up your heart's desire. It's very Greek. It's very Shakespearean, even. And I love that we see that Voss established the path.
Yes,
which
cool.
We knew he was involved in it through Obi-Wan. He's like, Quinlan was here. But we didn't know that he established it, which I think is really, really cool. We got a cool Inquisitor. I know who you are. You should have stayed dead. That battle is also cool. The picking up of the leg. I thought that was fun. I really liked the bounty hunters that we got. I thought they were really cool. The alien with the cool scarf metal whip thing, which I thought was cool.
Oh yeah.
And the droid is fun too. I thought he was very different from droids that we've seen, which is always nice to see. I think she's a Krell as well, right? With the pointy.
A Krell?
A Krell species? Love the Krell.
I honestly don't know. I'll try to look her up.
And then the shield relay ball action running thing I thought was really fun. That's a nice little thing. Lyco is was it Lyco? I have Lyco. Trusting her finally, which is cool. This little Jedi that she's like, I gotta take care of this stupid kid. I love seeing deserts in Star Wars always. They're so Star Wars to me. I love the old Separatist knowing who Asajj Ventress was. I thought that was very cool. I didn't expect him to be a Separatist. And we upgraded Tuskens to get Ewok frogs.
Upgraded Oh, yeah, okay. I see
they're
what you're
Tusken
saying.
Raiders, but they're not. They're Ewok
They're Ewok frogs. That's funny.
And then that would be a dislike. And I thought I would dislike the kid, but he really grew on me. I was like, this little kid's kind of cool, the little Jedi kid.
Yeah.
Okay. But overall, I really liked that first arc. Second arc, it's cool to see that, they did a young Indiana Jones nod. I kind of wish more of Cad Bane. Oh, that'll be a dislike. I liked the friend. I liked that it was
Nero.
Nero. Yeah. I liked that he had a lover. I thought that was pretty cool, and I really liked that it was so local. It's like, cool, it's just this one block in this one big city. Like, he was raised there. Like, we're going to keep this whole storytelling to this little area of, like, seedy, Underworld stuff. But yeah.
Yeah.
I have more dislikes with the second arc than I do likes, so
It's funny. Go ahead.
Turn it over to you.
Well, to make for good conversation, I think I feel almost exactly the opposite.
Oh.
There's usually in these Tales of shows, there's an arc that I like better and one that I'm like, all right. And this one, I liked the Cad Bane stuff, and I thought the Asajj stuff was kind of more on the okay side. Similarly, Jedi Path, taking everybody back to October of last year, my prediction was the next animated show was going to be a Jedi Path show. I was wrong, because the next one is Maul, but it really does seem like I will be very surprised if Ventress and this kid and the Jedi Path aren't a part of Shadow Lord,
you think?
the Maul show.
Yeah.
They're really setting up a lot of stuff for that post-Clone Wars era, it seems, because they didn't resolve anything with Ventress here, right?
Yeah.
But sticking to likes, man, this animation was incredible. The Stormtroopers in particular I thought they looked shockingly good.
And they all have helmets.
And they are well, these aren't ISB marshals, Zach.
Yeah,
these are rank and file
right,
Stormies.
Right.
The Star Destroyer shield generator rolling Powerball sequence that might be one of my favorite action sequences in all of Star Wars animation. I was just like, this is so inventive and cool.
Yeah.
We take for granted how much content we're getting, but that is such a cool idea for a sequence. It's very much Aladdin, right? When the castle's rolling towards them and they see the hole, then they can go up into the thing. Anyway, but their dinosaur mount in the third episode, I love him. I want more of him. I don't know what he is, but he's great. Battle droid scarecrows in the third episode was really kind of inventive and funny. The speeder sequence was cool and fun. I appreciated, while it was really transparent and predictable, but I appreciated the story of that third Asajj episode being about a separatist having to be willing to give up the fight.
Yeah.
To end the fight. Like, you lost, let's move on, right? Because we hadn't seen that before, and I thought that was cool. So moving on to Cad Bane, small likes. Bald Aqualish was absolutely hilarious. That was just such a funny thing. Yeah, the creepy spider-faced aliens, this one's bald. I just thought that was very funny. I don't know. I loved this. This was such a clear Sergio Leone Western in Star Wars, down to the point that they're meeting at high noon.
Yeah.
Right? Awesome. And it's not time for him to put the hat on yet until it's time for vengeance. And then Cad Bane puts the hat on, and I was like, I like this. This is fun. And then he guns down the lawman. He guns down Nero the exact same way he does Cobb Vanth. In that they're there, and they're ready, and they're getting ready to draw, and then the good guy takes his eyes off Cad Bane for a second, and that's when he guns him down. Right? Yeah. That he's just waiting, bam! Right? Because usually the way it goes in shootouts, you will always be faster reacting than to go first, which is why everybody waits, right? It's like, who's got better nerves? But Cad Bane is much craftier and much less honorable, right? I liked that consistency. So it's like, is he really that fast of a gun, or is he just that evil? And I think it's kind of both, right? So anywho, but dislikes. What did you struggle with? What did you not really like about these 6 bite-sized Star Wars episodes?
I really dislike that Asajj Ventress goes from, oh, I'm back alive, to, yep, I'm just doing security on this little planet.
Okay.
Just scooting by. It felt like, cool, she's back alive. Like, obviously, that's the point, is that she is then thrust into the limelight again. But, it did feel a little like, okay, really? Like, you were, like, the assassin of the universe. Okay. All right. And then I really dislike that the kid stays at the end. And I know she makes a joke to, like, you missed the shuttle, right? But, like, which is like, okay, cool. Did he choose to stay? I want it to be a little bit more clear, but also, if she does all of that to get him on the shuttle on the path, what is the point of these 3 episodes then?
Well, Do you want me to talk to it now, or do you want?
Please,
So
go ahead.
that I talked about it in our short review. I'll put it in the link below or whatever. But ultimately, these episodes for Asajj were her making her first ally since the Clone Wars, which you could argue is really her first real ally ever. It's not something she was born into, like the Night Sisters, where they'll still use her for their own ends, right? Or like a master that tried to kill her in Dooku. This is someone that she is choosing, or I guess you could say that maybe, Quinlan, you could argue, but that we see her choose, not fall in love with, just choose an ally. I'm going to open myself up to get burned again with this kid, right? I'm gonna be vulnerable and let someone else into my life. Because she's hiding at the beginning.
That's
right?
true.
That's kind of the whole thing, is that everybody she has ever known or cared about is either dead, or she is now magically incapable of making contact with him. So she's going to choose to let someone in. But that was anyway, I'll shut up. We're talking about your dislikes right now.
Yeah, no, thank you. That helps. Because
Cool.
I was really like, come on. And then I hate that everything that we know, not everything, but I dislike that a lot of the things that we get from Cad Bane are not original now. The hat isn't his. The toothpick isn't his. The voice is his, and it comes out of nowhere. But that second episode, you're like, oh my god, all right, what happened to you?
Yeah, man, puberty hit hard for Cad Bane.
And for some reason, now I'm talking like this. I dislike that he realizes it's his son, and then he's like, whatever. He just kind of walks away. I mean, I guess it shows that he has no heart, no care, but, or that he thinks that maybe it's better that he's not with him, but I don't know. I was like, okay, cool. There's no remorse there. We never get to see the remorse from Cad Bane, I don't think.
Wow. See, I had a totally different read on that scene. That's cool.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess that's it. I will add one more I did like that, as soon as he's out of prison, his whole crew's like, all right, we're ready.
Yeah.
Bane's out, let's do it. It felt very, seedy and
Yeah.
cool. But
Well, I want to speak real quick to that last moment. What I think it is that Cad Bane sees what he could have had he gone the other way, and I think it's just more of, I'm too far gone, so that sucks, I'm out, and leaves. Because he's a little colder every other time we see him. In these episodes, he's kind of... what I got out of it was he's not quite full douchebag yet. He's definitely not the best. But that he sees what he could have had he not made the choice that he made at the end of the second episode, right? That's what I got out of it. And he was like, well, sucks to suck. I guess I'm full evil now.
yeah.
I'm out.
Dang.
But my dislikes, this was some really funky, not funny, intended to be funny dialogue at one moment in the Asajj thing. You keep shut too. Keep shut? It's like, what? And then, well, you smell like a Jedi. I was like, what? That's dumb. What seventh grader wrote this, and that you had to keep it in there because he's somebody's niece or nephew or something. I just thought it was funky and very not funny. Hot take. I have never liked the scale whip bounty hunter and the rock'em sock'em droid. I've always thought they were goofy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just, I was just like, what is this like? And she's throwing whips at people. I just always thought it was odd. It was like, how are they able to compete with people that have guns? Just shoot them. I don't know. But they are visually interesting and different. So I'll give you that. Hit me.
I just remember what my about the Krell species. It's the Pog Krell. It's the four-armed guy that they're killing.
Oh yeah, she's a totally different thing. I looked at.
Yep.
You're fine. She is a Thelan.
Yes.
Which might be a make 'em up. I don't know. It's all make 'em up, but she might be an OG. I don't know. But yeah, Pong Krell with the multiple thingies. I like the story they told with Ventress, but interestingly, I didn't like the Padawan enough to justify his presence in her life.
Oh, really?
Like, I understood what I told you what I thought they were going for with her, but I didn't think that he was like unique enough in any way to justify being that
spark
for her. Yeah, I was just kind of like, I mean, I get what they're saying, but this kid's pretty boring. Like, at least Ezra Bridger is like a little turd. So it's like, okay, there's something unique about you. This kid was just like, I am Jedi Kid. I here to be Jedi Kid. I don't know. Last dislike, could have done without any of the scenes with the council members in the Cad Bane arc. Just all of it. All of it was weird, and you could have cut it all up. Oh, I was wrong. One more. It's more of a question. But so Cad Bane's name when he's a kid is Colby. Was his name Colby Bane? Because that is a terrible name. Colby Bane. I am Colby Bane.
Hold on. Let me get it. Cad Bane. I am Colby Bane.
Yeah, it's just like, it makes me wonder if Bane is like a solo situation where it was a name that he chose.
What if he was Colby Jack?
Or like,
would that be a spicy take?
This is preposterous.
I like puns. I like puns, everybody.
All right. So moving into discussion questions, and we kind of discovered a way to do this last time that I like. Do you want to popcorn this situation?
Sure.
All right. So you hit us with your first point or question or whatever.
Yeah. How do you think the whole council knows everything about Cad Bane when he was just a kid on the street?
I think it's that Nero, him having become essentially the sheriff, right? And he's such a person of such high standing, and they know that the two of them were best friends, and the shootout that they had at the end of the second episode, losing their head lawman, right? I think that's how.
Right.
It's that, like, he did something so terrible to their community, they don't want him to come back, because they know that he's going to kill the other sheriff, right?
True.
So anyway.
All right.
But so, Ventress's resurrection. It worked for me too. I loved it. I've seen a lot of people that didn't. But I liked that it wasn't just that she's back, and that while the Night Sisters use the Force, they use it in their kind of weird way. I thought it was interesting that they're kind of a dark-sidey cult, but their way to achieve a resurrection of sorts is the same way the Jedi become immortal, that you have to sacrifice something. She has to sacrifice what she loves most, and then she can come back. The Jedi have to sacrifice everything to become shadowy blue guys. That's Yoda's vision quest, that he, on Clone Wars, that he has to be willing to accept his dark side, but then also sacrifice himself to save Anakin, right? That's what all that's about. So I liked that. I thought it was interesting that they had a similar thing.
Yeah.
But my question... So you wouldn't like it better if she stayed dead? You like this?
I like it for how they did it. I would have been fine if she would have stayed dead.
Yeah. Right on. Well, then I have another question.
I have a follow-up question on yours, because the only thing I do bump into with this whole resurrection thing is she has to give up what she loves most to live. They give her no, like, reason that they're bringing her back. They give her no mission. Yeah. And it's like, cool, if you can't live without the thing you love the most, what's the point of the living?
Yeah.
So, like, I was very confused about why she's like, yeah, no, cool, I'll be alive. Because then, if not, she's surrounded by her whole family that she apparently, is sad about losing.
I mean, it could be something that the Night Sisters want there to be a Night Sister. Yeah. And so they're trying to get her back out in the world. I don't know. I mean, my whole thing, was, do you think this is at all in any way approachable or understandable to people that have not read Dark Disciple? No. Because, and that's the only thing that I don't like about it. Like, this is not, like, they told a story that was cool. But if you're someone that has only seen Clone Wars, Quinlan Vos is a guy that shows up once on a fun mission with Obi-Wan Kenobi to hunt down Zero the Hutt. And
all you had to do was show a cool flashback sequence at the very beginning of that show of Dark Disciple moments of her holding him holding her, Dooku attacking them. Like that's all you had to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just give a little context.
I just like that she's out there, and I think it's interesting, and I do hope that at some point we see what happens when she makes contact with Quinlan.
You think she dies instantly?
I'm curious.
Because that would be cool.
Yeah, like it would have to be something that she'll have to die again to save him. I don't know. It does. I have seen people complain that she got brought back at all.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see where it goes, and I hope that we get that story.
I was just mad that they brought her back in Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Because it was like, what?
Well, and this is clearly after that.
Before that.
I don't think so, because you'd see the kid with her if Bad Batch is after. This is after that, is what I get out of it.
Well, not the very beginning, because she's dead.
Well, right, yes. But then when we catch up with her being a security clerk, just trying to hide, trying to lay low, she was laying low on Bad Batch, right? It wasn't... Yeah. Anyway, but your next discussion point or question.
Yeah, do you think it's a little... it's one of the things I ran into, and I wanted to get your insight on it. To me, it's a little weird that Nero's like, hey, Cad Bane's lady, I'm going to now marry you. I know she was pregnant, and he would take care of her and all that, but like it was a little, I don't know, like a gut punch for Cad Bane, which I guess, and the whole council knew. They're like, oh no, he took his lady,
Yeah.
like, so.
I think when the three of you grow up together, I'm not saying that like friends are waiting for the other friend to go to prison so they can start dating, but I didn't push back against it only because archetypal Western.
Yeah.
Small town, you don't know a lot of people. It's like, he's a good man.
Yeah.
He didn't leave me like Cad did. You know what I mean? That's what I got out of it.
I love
so,
Cad, but he's a good man.
Well, like, honestly, like, yeah, like, were this a fuller movie, there would be a scene like that probably, right? Like,
Yeah.
He's everything Cad wasn't. Anyway. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was complicated.
It was complicated.
And I kind of liked it for that.
Yeah.
But similarly, I thought it was interesting that there's a nature versus nurture thing happening with Nero and Cad Bane.
Mm-hmm.
Nero goes to prison and then becomes part of the system. Becomes a cop, basically. Bane escapes with criminals and stays a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, had they switched, would Nero have become a Cad Bane type and Cad Bane become a sheriff cop type?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think the nature versus nurture argument is always very interesting. I think it's a mix of both. I don't think anything is entirely based on, it comes out of the womb and it's like, I'm a good guy forever, or I'm a bad guy forever, I don't think it's that. I think, we are all products of our environments. That being said, I do think there is something about the soul of a person and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see. I mean, maybe Cad would be a lawman, but I think he would still be like one that takes money. From like the underground. It's like, I'm a corrupt cop, if you will.
Yeah.
Whereas Nero, I think, if he did become a bad guy, he'd be the one that's like always like, saving people on the side and then getting in trouble for it,
Oh, sure.
So
yeah, I see that.
I think that's the nature versus nurture there. I think it's possible that they do switch, but I think that there's still a seediness to Cad and a goodness to Nero.
I dig it.
Yeah,
I dig it. All right, your next one.
Do you think we'll get a full bounty hunter show? Because this kind of promised to be a bounty hunter show and then wasn't.
Go ahead.
Because they're like, Asajj Ventress is now a bounty hunter in the Underworld, and Cad Bane, the most notorious bounty hunter, will show you two things that are not about bounty hunting at all.
Yeah.
So do you think we're eventually gonna get a bounty hunting thing? Because I want it.
I don't know that we'll ever get a show that's pure bounty hunter. My guess would be that either coming out of or during or after Maul Shadowlord, we're gonna get a show that is Asajj and this kid, or again, there'll be secondary leads on Shadowlord.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Tales of has always been they fill in small gaps. It's never been a jumping off point before, right?
Yeah.
So in that way, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if we never see Asajj and this kid again. But I hope we do. But as far as a bounty hunting show, because you'd have to have a young point of view character, right?
Yeah.
On Maul, we can presume that it's going to be this Twilight kid. You know, kind of slanty-eyed. It's pretty much, she's Darth Talon, potentially with a different name. But yeah, I don't know. Do you want that? You think
I want it.
happening?
Yeah, I think a bounty hunter show would be sick. I don't know if we'll ever get one. I think the closest thing we've ever gotten is Bounty Hunter, the like PS1 and 64 GameCube game with Jango Fett on the cover shooting.
Yeah.
Which I never fully played, but
we got Book of Boba Fett, but
yeah.
And I mean, Mandalorian is basically a bounty hunter show.
That's true.
You know.
Maybe I'm complaining about nothing. I want an animated bounty hunter show, okay?
It could be cool.
I want Echo back, and I want a show about him, okay? I want the big hat guy.
Oh, Embo.
Embo, yeah.
Echo's a clone, dog.
Yep. Throw him in there, too. He's a bounty hunter.
So, how the animation style has evolved since Clone Wars to look this good. And it just makes me wonder how much more it would it have evolved or improved had Disney bankrolled Rebels to continue with that same style. And I understand, at the time, Disney was like, we're going to slash costs and figure out what works. And so they made Rebels with a fraction of what it costs to make the other animation stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to villainize Disney like most people do. But do you think, I don't know, I just think it's kind of fun to ponder. It's already incredible, but how much better would it be now if they had kept up with that same production value?
I don't think it would have been better. I think the step away was a good thing. I mean, like any artist, sometimes you got to step away to like give yourself a mind break and then be like, oh, what? Cool. Wait, I can do this so much better now. You know, I think there's something about returning to something, even like voice acting, right? Like sometimes you look at your old stuff and you're like, ooh, I should not have read that audiobook that way. I can come back and do this one better. But or don't look at my audiobooks, please. But like, any art is that way, I think. But also, I think if you don't step away and do Rebels in a different style and maybe have some of those same people on it, they don't learn new techniques from that style to bring back to merge. I feel like the learning of Rebels is what makes this new animation so good, like, because there is some shininess more to it than the old OG Clone Wars. So I think it's kind of a mixture of the two.
Right on.
What about you?
I don't know. I was, for me, it's the technology. It's just that it's improved so much. I'm just curious how much it would have improved if they'd kept grinding on the same thing. But it makes sense, and I like that Rebels is distinct. I wish it was this art style. But and that's actually my last discussion point or question. So what else you got?
Well, perfect. I have the perfect last discussion question.
Cool.
What do you think the next Tales of is going to be?
Could be anything. For a while, I've been wanting them to do the scene where Luke and Ahsoka meet. Because that's a conversation that I think could be really cool. But we know why that's not going to happen anytime soon, because Ahsoka is actively in live action and potentially going to be in movies, and Ahsoka's there now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I almost can't predict what it would be, because I kind of always figured that it would be Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Sith. We'd bounce around and be going everywhere throughout like the Star Wars timeline, and we get an Old Republic story, and then we'd get a post-sequel story. But it's clearly not that. It's stopgaps of, so far, Clone Wars characters.
Yeah.
So all that to say, I have no idea I don't know. You got something?
Yeah, I think we could get a Tales of the First Order.
Ooh.
About Hux's dad. I know we got it in a book, in the Phasma book, but I think honestly the whole Phasma book would do well as a tiny episode like this.
Yeah.
But also just like, some of the like missing pieces of the First Order. I think you could get a teaser of Tales of the New Jedi Order, which would either be Luke's Academy or Rey's. I don't think we'll get Rey's because that's, possibly in a movie. But I think you could get those comics about Kylo, destroying. That could even be in a Tales of the First Order, honestly. I think you could also do Tales of the Acolyte.
Oh man, that would be spicy.
That would be so spicy, but I think it would be an interesting way to continue that story.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I would love to see that, but I would be very surprised if that happened. Just because I think that it would only anger fans of the show that would see it as, well, we're not going to give you more time with these characters in live action, but we'll give them to you in cartoons.
Yeah.
Diehard fans were here for it, but I could see a version where it upset Leslie Headland, it upset Manny Jacinto, and everybody that was involved in the live action stuff. I could see them feeling like they were relegated to animation and it making them upset, and they would not want to be involved, and it would be potentially a PR firestorm. I want more Stranger.
Yeah.
Give me Tales of the Sith and tell the Darth Plagueis story. But, whatever. It's not like that's kind of the bedrock of what the prequel trilogy is.
Yeah.
Like, based on. So, anyway. That would be cool, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But all right, closing thoughts for Tales of the Underworld. Zach, what you got?
Yeah. Perfectly happy it exists. I don't think, like I said at the beginning, I liked one more than the other, but both are fun. I like this animation style. I think it's very beautiful. I like the tone, and I like how quick it is. I was able to watch these episodes like on the way to work, and I was like, cool. Like I got a nice lunch of Star Wars. I feel satisfied. I could still use dinner, but I'm more full than I was with breakfast.
I like that.
That's my weird analysis.
More full than I was with breakfast. Alrighty. So yeah, just I've said it before earlier in this, but my closing thoughts. I like philosophical character progression. I like that we're going to set up simple, like high stakes, but situations that it's like, cool, I see the problem. How are they going to fix this? How are they going to get out of this for themselves? So you got to see a spaghetti western in Star Wars, which was always promised with Cad Bane. He was always intended to be the good, the bad, and the ugly character, like from moment one. And so we get to finally see that kind of realized in a way. And we saw Asajj Ventress make her first ally since the Clone Wars and choose connection over being alone for really the first time, you could argue, ever. So I thought it was cool, and I hope that we see Asajj and whatever his name is again. But I don't know. We'll see. But moving into the other big Star Wars thing that we finished, Zach, I'm handing it over to you.
Yeah, we did a book. We're surprised as much as you are. We read a whole book, both of us. We did it. Mask of Fear came out, which I did not write down the author, but they did a good job, so I want to...
Oh, I think it's Alexander Freed.
Reign of the Empire, The Mask of Fear, which is a novel by Alexander Freed. Good job. Good memory, Matt. We read it. It's a long book, so I don't have as detailed notes as I did for Tales of the Underworld.
Yeah.
But opening thoughts, Matt. I'll start with you.
So this was not my ideal Star Wars tone, but this was a novel that was about the journey more than the destination.
Yeah.
Right? And it was incredibly well written. I was kind of surprised that I was as interested as I was in a novel that ultimately is about Mon Mothma trying to get a bill passed that she gets passed, and then Mas Amedda is like, it's not going to work.
Spoilers.
Oh, I mean, yeah. But, that's what this novel was.
Yeah.
So, but what are your opening thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was very smart to release this at the same time as Andor because I would be watching Andor and then I would listen to this. I do audiobooks. I would listen to this and be like, oh yeah, no, this is the same tone. It kind of is the Mon Mothma show that you want from Andor, but in a book form, with, pockets of Bail Organa and Saw Gerrera and the kind of the start. I mean, Matt said it perfectly. It's more about the journey, but the ultimately sets up is Bail, Mon, and Saw Gerrera meeting and talking.
Yeah.
That's about it. It doesn't do a lot, but it is a very good book.
Yeah.
It's incredibly well written. Some interesting characters, some interesting ideas. But yeah, let's go and get into it. Matt, just talk about what you liked about the book.
Ultimately, this book is the best parts of Andor in novel form. Like, I almost wish the novel was just a collection of, like, beautiful political monologues and characters making good arguments for things I don't agree with. Like, it's ultimately what the novel is, but if it was even, like, just that, I'd be like, cool.
Yeah.
Here's a collection of, like, arguments for all these things. And I'm like, I don't really like that idea, but the argument's compelling. The whole idea of Mon Mothma versus Bail Organa is interesting, and I really, really love that this novel establishes that Padme was the glue that kept them together.
Yeah.
Because had Padme lived, I almost think the rebellion would have started sooner. There would have been less, they say in the novel, there would have been less conflict between Mon Mothma and Bail, because she kept them together. I thought Bail's quest to find out what happened to the Jedi was really interesting, and the faked recording was really interesting. Sujin, like one of the few original characters in the book, was really, really cool. And I don't, if they said this at one point, I missed it, but is he a result of like Grievous style experiments? Because the book, Sujin is a character that was created by the Separatists, and he's very much a cyborg. He's part droid, part humanoid. And I'm curious. That's what I got. That it was the the Techno Union.
Vaknalis.
There you go, Sujin Vaknalis. But I just thought it was interesting. And then I liked how Saw was deployed in this book. He is an agent of chaos and pain that will strike at anything, and he destroyed something beautiful.
Yeah.
That it was like, whoa, that's heavy. And he absolutely would, and wouldn't care, would just brush it off and move on to do it again.
Yeah.
But them's my biggest likes. Zach, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I love, like I said when we were watching Andor, I love Mon Mothma as a character, and it was cool to get more insight into her. Even just like the small stuff that you get with her and Perrin, I think really informs a lot of what you watch in Andor, which I thought was really cool. Bail Organa being this idealist that we haven't really ever seen before on screen, besides being like, he leads the rebellion. Like, to see him actively being like, hey, cool, like, I want to figure out what happened to the Jedi. I know Yoda. They're not going to say that. I know Obi-Wan. Not going to say that. But I'm going to try and vindicate and, legally free them from their prison of exile. I thought was really cool. I love that I love the planets that it goes to, too. Like, we get a little bit of Jeddah. We get a little bit of, we get a lot of Coruscant, but we get a bunch of these little vignettes of different planets, which I think is really fun. I really like Sujin Vaknalis as a character.
Yeah.
I don't like that he's not a alien species that we've seen before, because my brain kept on going, okay, does he look like this? 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 He's an Alvadorgian. I thought the culture behind that species was really cool as well. I really like Saw Gerrera in this too. I agree. I think he's used perfectly and just the right amount. He's not in it too much. I'm feeling a little Saw Gerrera'd out at the. I mean, I was even before Andor, but it was. I thought he was used very well, and I love that ultimately she succeeds. Spoilers. Mon Mothma gets the bill passed that she's trying to do this whole time, and she does all of the political things that she needs to, and she gets it passed. But at the end, it's an empire, and Masamita. The scene with Masamita is perfect. It's so good. He basically shows her a concentration camp, a re-education camp, as like, yeah, we have tons of these. We could do these more. We can make more if you want, or you could just shut up. Is basically what he tells her, and she's like, okay, cool. Gonna start the Rebel Alliance right now. Just at least the beginnings of it, because then she goes to Bail and they meet Saw Gerrera, and it is the very, very start of that little Rebel Alliance. But yeah, those are kind of my likes. I have some discussion points and
I got a dislike.
But yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's funny. It's that exact same scene is my biggest dislike, because as we get to that moment in the last couple pages of the book of Bail Organa, Mon Mothma, and Saw Gerrera coming together, standing in the same place, I thought it was like, okay, that's what this novel was. They're going to see that they have to do it together. That was not what that scene was at all. The scene starts, and then at the end of it, they accept, we can't do this together. Goodbye, and leave. And it's like, okay, so
but
ultimately,
they never
what this
fully work with Saw anyway.
Right, but even Bail and Mon are like, nah. So ultimately, what this book is why the Rebel Alliance didn't begin sooner, because these three people ultimately couldn't reconcile their differences yet, which is pretty tragic. Yeah. But and it initially made me call into question the purpose of the book. It's like, well, why did I read this? And then I was like, right, it's about the journey, not the destination. This is a novel, and all the canon novels suffer from this because of the interconnected continuity. Novels have been where Lucasfilm has pushed, outside of the High Republic, right? Novels have been where Lucasfilm has pushed character moments and character progression, but big things don't happen because they're trying to save that for visual mediums, right? But that was my really only dislike, was that it was that the book wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But what's your dislikes or struggles?
I felt I struggled with that as well too. I did finish the book and go, what just happened?
Yeah.
What did I just watch? Read.
Yeah.
Listen. I was like, but again, you said it's about the journey. I think what this book is really showing you is how corrupt the Empire is. I mean, how many times does Mon Mothma get called into an interrogation place and just be left
so scary
for days with like just a little bit of water? Like it shows the totalitarian, tyrannical might of the Empire, which is cool to see. Scary. Again, you don't need to tell me that the Nazis are evil, but this book does do a really good job at showing that the Nazis are really evil. That this empire is super, super corrupt. But I feel like it does show as well that there are pockets of people waiting to rebel. There are pockets of people that are fighting the Empire. Saw is always fighting, and he destroys an entire world that is literally supposed to be like a national park and never be touched, and the whole civilization ruin is lost. But he's still fighting, and there are still pockets of rebellion even through the beginning of the Empire, which I thought was very interesting. And to see the reintegration of the separatist worlds, I also thought was very interesting.
Yeah.
Some of them are like, yeah, no, this Empire sucks. We'll do whatever you want. And some of them are like, no. I don't. What also another thing I found very, very interesting was how many people were just like, I don't want to fight war anymore. Whatever they want. I don't care. My planet doesn't really care. Whatever. As long as the fighting stops, we're good.
Which was Palpatine's whole plan.
Yeah.
That's why he created the Clone Wars. I'm going to beat the galaxy into submission so that they'll accept my tyrannical rule in the face of more death and destruction.
Yeah. I mean, Masamita says it at the end. She's like, what are you going to do? Start a war to make the people love you? And he goes, we already did.
Yeah.
It already happened. Didn't you see it? Creepy. It was nice to see Masamita as a villain, too, because so many things he's just in the background behind Palpatine holding a spear, looking creepy, and you're
and in the Aftermath books, he's kind of a punchline.
Yeah.
Like, he's so afraid. In this one, it was like he gets to be scary.
Yeah. Was I doing dislikes? Sorry.
You were, and it became discussion questions, and that's cool. That's fine. So, You got something else?
And the last dislike, I kind of just wish that Sujin had gotten farther into his plan. Because
Sure.
I thought it could have been a little bit more climactic than it was, the ending of it. If you haven't read the book, Sujin Vaknalis is a Alvadorgian who is created as the not scapegoat, but the backup plan for the Separatist Alliance. He has all of these like bombs and mods built into his body, and he can go, and his goal is to kill Palpatine and blow up. But Mon Mothma finds his words to make him blow up, and does it outside of the Senate building, I think, or one of the like the Imperial.
It's when he's flying there.
Yeah. And she blows him up and almost dies in the process, and she feels really bad about it because she kills for the first time. And so it's a very interesting moment, but I kind of wish he had gotten into the Imperial Palace, or like we had seen him like do some things against the Red Guards and then blown up, or like that Palpatine holds him and makes him blow up. And that's not what this book is. It's not about that, but I wanted a little bit more Star Wars in the Star Wars book.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my dislikes.
So moving into discussion questions or points, was Mon right to kill Sujin Vaknalis? Or should she have let him try? What do you think? Should she have let him try to kill Palpatine?
I get why she does it, but she never struck me as the character to kill, to save. I mean, I guess she's killing it to save her Bill, because she thinks that it will do more good than whatever
just killing
he's
him.
Gonna do.
Yeah,
but she's wrong in the end. So I think she's right for her personal reasons, but in the end is wrong because the system is too far gone.
Yeah. I decided it was an interesting point. What's your first one?
Did you find Bale a little comical at the beginning of this book with his dogmatic, like, I have to prove that the Jedi are good. I have to prove that the Jedi are good. I felt like he was written kind of funny at the very beginning of this. What's your take on that?
Oh, I didn't get that. I thought he was justified. He's the only person that saw what happened to the Jedi, that actually saw a Padawan get gunned down, and I liked that he was vindicated and like, no, we need to fix this. Yeah. So I didn't think I loved it. But that's my penchant for paladins. Yeah.
True.
That's how it goes.
Your next discussion?
It's also my last one, and it's about Bail Organa. Bail ends the book feeling the need to operate, quote, so small it's invisible. Canonically, we know he recruits Ahsoka at around this same time and is ultimately responsible for her building the Fulcrum network. So it's kind of the same thing that I was saying. Right, but it's also the same thing I was saying with the end of Andor. It's like, why is he now being portrayed as the one that's gun-shy when we've known in Legends and Canon he was like one of the first ones to be like, nope, we're making a rebellion.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's going to take, and it takes Mon forever to join, but he's like, we are doing this. This is happening.
Yeah.
So I think it's weird but it was because they were trying to bridge the gap with Andor where he's like, nah, it's not time yet.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, okay. Because in the Ahsoka novel, which again is loosely canon now, that final fight on the farming moon, Rada, Bail Organa's Tantive 4 and a squadron of A-Wings show up and are blowing the Empire to hell. So that's not really invisible, dog. I mean, yeah, it still works in that he creates a spy network and it's not literally him. But I think it's odd. Because it's also not really small if you're creating a squadron of fighters. And anyway, I do not agree with that version of him.
Yeah.
But your discussion points. That's what I got.
Yeah, there's a character that's pretty big in this book that I realize neither of us have mentioned now.
Oh, who?
Which is the Imperial spy who pretends to be the Senate security for Bail.
Hockey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that whole like spy network and like Empire sympathizer thing. What do you think was the point of that? Because it also kind of showed it didn't really come to anything as well.
She is a believer in the system, and the system betrays her.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what it is. It's that she's a believer in the system. She's an ardent Imperial, and then over the course of the book, she sees, it's the Cyril Karn story.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't care about me. I'm disposable.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they send people to kill her. She discovers that she's a loose end, in spite of everything she does for them.
True.
That's what I got out of it.
All right. Closing thoughts for The Mask of Fear.
And I realize that I have said everything already.
All right.
Like, while you could just say that the story being about the journey and not the destination, you could just say that sounds like they didn't have anything to say with this book and why make it. But it's the nature of interconnected continuity. Novels cannot take big swings when movies are going to use the same characters and time periods.
Yeah.
They have to leave things open. So it's either you could just have a chaotic continuity and not have any of it fit at all and do whatever you want in any story, which I think would be really fun. Or you could do stuff like this, where you just know when you get a Star Wars novel, it's not going to take big swings. It's going to be little character moments.
Yeah.
And I too read the audiobook, but I have a physical copy. So I listened to the audiobook. I really am going to go through and find some of these beautiful monologues about political stuff. I should have done that for our podcast episode, but I forgot about it, and that takes a lot of time. So I didn't do that. Yeah. But Zach, your closing thoughts for The Mask of Fear.
Yeah. So this is the first book in a trilogy. We forgot to mention it's the Reign of Empire trilogy. I think as a book one, it is a book one. It is setting up rising action to hopefully have a bigger book two and book three. I think it's doing a lot of exposition that hopefully the next two books will expound upon and have a little bit more fun. If you are wanting of that Andor tone and that Andor seriousness and theme, this is the book for you. This is written for you. This is one I highly recommend. The audiobook is great. Her Saw Gerrera isn't annoying, which is nice. It's not out of this world, but it's really all of the Star Wars audiobooks are performed so well and produced so well. The music's there. It does feel like you're watching it as you're listening to it. So I highly recommend picking this up if you are wanting of that Andor tone and theme and politicalness. If that's what excited you about Andor, go check this out. If it's not, might not be the book for you, but it's still a good read if you're looking for some Star Wars in your life. And if you're not looking for that tone, boy, there's so much more because we got comics out the wazoo. We're going to put it over to the Canon Comics Corner with Matt.
Diving into the Canon Comics Corner.
We both can't say. We got to change the name.
Canon Comics Corner, Canon Comics Corner, Canon Comics Corner. Okay. Either way, we're going to do Legacy of Vader 3, 4, Jedi Knights 3, and Star Wars 1. Starting with Legacy of Vader 3, loose rundown, Kylo Ren is captured and tortured by Gardulla the Hutt. He has a vision of Darth Vader that gives him the power to escape. So, Zach, just kind of condensing it into just like your biggest things, what's your loose review of this comic?
Of the ones so far, this is the most of it. It feels kind of fillery. I don't feel like he learns that much besides to like trust in himself and his power. There's some cool moments, like he takes down a like dragonoid lizard thing, which was pretty cool.
It's a crate dragon.
Was it a crate dragon?
Well, to be fair, that's what crate dragons looked like before the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Maybe and so this is a young crate dragon.
Yeah. Because I thought that too, and then I was like, it can't be a crate dragon. Crate dragons are sandworms. But yeah, it's that like kind of OG crate dragon, and he wears it, and then he takes out the entire Hutt cartel, and you see none of it. You don't see none of it, which is a dislike. But yeah, what about you?
It had missing. this had missing pages.
Mm-hmm.
This story must have been originally planned to happen over several issues, and for some reason, Charles Soule had to condense it, because the point of this issue is that he has a vision. He's captured by Gardola the Hutt. He's being tortured. He has a vision of Vader, sees Vader, and calls it magnificent, how he's slaughtering rebels. And he asks Vader for help, and Vader says, "You ask me for help? Everything that made me magnificent, I did alone." And then Kylo Ren's like, "Cool," and destroys the building that he's in just with the Force.
Yeah.
Right? But then you see him journey across the desert, kill a crate dragon, call the First Order for help, and then he wanders into Gardola's palace, who they've been set up as the villains of this arc, and murders them completely off screen.
Yeah.
And I was like, what happened to the cool little spider Michelin Man guy? What happened to Gardola the Hutt? Why did we skip over that? I thought that's what this was building to, and I don't know. I thought that was weird as well, because they make a point of setting themselves up as mattering, because while Kylo is being tortured, the little Michelin Man guy is talking with Gardola, and he's like, "You made a deal to break him, not destroy him." And it's like, who'd they make a deal with? Are we never gonna find? It's just, I thought it was weird.
Yeah.
But also, obviously, could have been. I hope we find that out eventually.
Yeah.
But obviously, we know he didn't make contact with Vader. That's Palpatine. From the beginning of Episode 9, I have been every voice you have ever heard inside your head.
Yeah.
Right? It's Palpatine messing with him.
Yep.
But moving on to Legacy of Vader number 4, which
I
Zach has not read
this
yet.
one. I will. I'll take the shame. I got it on my phone though, so I'll talk about it next week or the week after. But that being said, I'll read the thing so Matt can talk about it.
Sure.
Vinay leads Kylo Ren to Naboo to teach him how Vader's loss of Padme fueled his strength. Kylo instead goes back to his old ways of thinking and intends to destroy Vader's past, and declares himself King of Naboo.
This one started really slow, but I liked it. There is a lot going on. This is anti the last issue. Every single page was filled with dialogue. First half felt like a retread for people that have not seen Star Wars Episode 2. Then it locked in and started doing some stuff. And so I'm going to keep it vague because Zach hasn't read it yet. But Canon Nugget. Kylo encounters a member of the Varuna family. In Legends, Ars Varuna was Amidala's predecessor as
cool.
King of Naboo. And he kind of warred with Darth Plagueis and tried to kill him. And he was also kind of very corrupt king. In canon, her immediate predecessor was a queen named Sanandrasa, and it is unclear if there was a King Varuna in canon or not. This is from the E.K. Johnston Padme Amidala novels that I started.
They're good.
And realized this is... Oh, I did not like it. But it was more of like, oh, this is not for me. It was the long descriptions of like the dresses and makeup and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm happy this exists. This is not for me. If you loved it, sick.
It was
awesome.
for me.
Toss. I appreciated Soule trying to somewhat add clarity to that, who was the previous king, because Kylo kills a member of the Varuna family, and they're like, you don't get it. All the ruling families are like kind of related and relegated together. They all matter. So it's like, all right. It was I took that as him trying to add some clarity that like it's all the same family basically. But and I think it's super interesting because Kylo starts this comic asking Hux, so the Empire made 2 Death Stars. We made Starkiller Base. Do we have the ability to destroy a planet? Like, do we have that? And Hux is like, I mean, we could sunder it. We could destroy all their structures. And he's like, good to know. And goes to Naboo. So I'm wondering if Kylo is going to assault Naboo and kind of destroy it, like, forever, basically.
I'd be kind of mad about that.
Oh, yeah, but
if
I mean, that's a very...
comic.
Kylo Ren is everything that has happened in this story, so in this canon comic so far, is things that you could argue we should have gotten in the sequels, right? Yeah. Like Kylo actually talking to Vader, Kylo like seeing him train and some of his philosophy grow a bit. I'm just happy we're getting content about this era. So anyway, Jedi Knights number 3 for something completely different.
So different.
Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi rescue Senator Bail Organa from a planet of giant monsters, and that's what happens.
Yep.
That's it. Zach, what's your review?
Splash page! Splash page! Splash page!
Yeah.
It is just, this is all action, and splash page, like, some beautiful images, really. But yeah, it's a silly, fun little interlude. They go to a planet of Kaijura, which is kaiju. So it's basically just giant dinosaurs, giant, and they're cool. I mean, at one point, literally, a dinosaur picks the Tantive 5 out of the air, and they have to shoot the escape pods to get out. It's cool. It's fun. It's silly funness that, if I was, anywhere from 5 to 25 picking up this comic for the first time, be like, cool, I'm going to check out the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one was fun. You got some really cool, you did get some cool moments though. You got, at one point, their repulsor lifts don't work, and he's like, okay, cool, take off, and I'll do it with the Force. Qui-Gon literally, lifts the ship, and Obi-Wan's like, holy crap, that's so cool. Literally says that. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it was fun. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be, and I'm not mad about it. So, what about you?
It's just such a fun idea for a 22-page comic to have every single page be a splash page.
Yeah.
It's a fun little idea. It's felt like something you should listen to with a heavy metal soundtrack going. The only slight indication of any plot whatsoever was Obi-Wan's sadness at Qui-Gon ordering to fire on the creatures. And I thought that was odd too, but it was fun.
Yeah.
I do wish, fun as it was, that we had gotten any conversation between Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan, and Bail Organa, considering, these are, we've had Bail Organa the episode, everything that we're doing today.
Yeah.
But
this is Junior Senator Bail Organa.
Exactly, but it's just give us any kind of conversation hinting at all of the history these three are going to have later on. But everybody talks about how, The Mandalorian is playing with action figures. This was playing with action figures. There was hardly any dialogue. It was literally just boom, boom, boom. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hey, what should we do with our Jedi action figures? Well, I have these dinosaurs. Sick. Let's do it.
Yeah. And, okay.
And lastly, we had Star Wars #1, which was another comic that I did not have time to read, but Matt did, so I'll read what it's about. A new era for the Star Wars ongoing comic. Post-Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker encounters a mysterious warrior. Han Solo and Bailarit Valance team up against surprisingly heavy armored pirates, and Leia Organa and Mon Mothma discover an entire sector has essentially declared war on the New Republic.
So my review, all right.
Which is how you want to start a #1.
Yeah, I was kind of like, okay. Which is really how I felt about the Battle of Jakku comic after being so hyped for it. And it's not like a problem, but I am frustrated that the ongoing adventures of Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Leia Organa in the first comic of their adventures, that it is wide open. We are after Aftermath. The Galactic Civil War is dead and buried. What are you going to tell? 3 stories that all felt very... okay. This feels like a comic that is corporately mandated to exist. Ongoing adventures of Han, Luke, and Leia. And in my opinion, that should not be this meh. But whatever. The mysterious warrior. So I don't really want to even talk about it, because it was just everything that happens is what is in that sentence that you just read, and that's it. It's cool. The mysterious warrior that Luke encounters appears to be a Nagai. I don't know. Which they've got the very pale white faces with black tattoos and markings. And they were created, this is cool though, they were created by writer Mary Jo Duffy and artist Cynthia Martin for the original Marvel Comics run.
Cool.
And first appeared in Star Wars #91, released October 26th, 1984.
Cool.
They started a war against the New Republic. It wasn't called that at the time in this comic. It was the Alliance of Free Planets after the defeat of the Empire. And yeah. So we're getting a canon version of that, I guess, which is cool. that were paying homage to the original post-Return of the Jedi stories. But I was thoroughly underwhelmed. Sorry to be really negative, but it was fun to see Luke Skywalker running through the woods with his green lightsaber out, back in his pilot fatigues and stuff. But and Han Solo got a dope new costume.
Cool.
He's got a black long sleeve shirt and a white vest. So they just flipped it. And but it looks cool, and I was like, all right. And it for the first time ever, I was like, I get this. This is the saddest thing about this, and I am going to say, it was like, I understand why people say they're tired of Han, Luke, and Leia. Because people are, I should have been. I am the market for this.
Yeah.
Those are my Star Wars leads. That's who I grew up with. I want to see more of them. And I was sadly thoroughly underwhelmed. So
twice in a row. First with Battle of Jakku, now here.
Yeah, man, and it's just.
And you liked the other Star Wars run, right? The in between 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I really liked between 4 and 5 and between 5 and 6, both of them. 5 and 6 was Charles Soule. 5 and 6 took some weird swings that I was like, but at least they took swings. Sorry, I try not to be negative, but I didn't have a lot of super positives to talk about.
Well,
but,
maybe issue 2 will be better.
Yeah, who knows? I would love to. Hey, if it's dope, I'm here for it.
Yeah,
and I'll probably read it every month anyway, because what else are we going to talk about on this podcast? But we got a lot of cool stuff coming up. But in the meantime, Zach, how can the people get involved with what they just watched or listened to?
You can email us at forceofothersradio@gmail.com. Click like, subscribe, hit that notification bell here on YouTube. You can follow us anywhere that podcasts are found. Amazon, Apple, Spotify, RSS feed. If you really want it, email us. We'll send it to you. But yeah, just reach out to us, comment. We have an Instagram as well, Force of Others Podcast. And we hope to hear from you soon and to get involved with you. We have a lot of really cool stuff coming down the pipeline, a bunch of interviews, a bunch of something I'm editing right now that'll be really fun when it comes out. Yeah, we're doing a Order 66 actual play. We're doing another Star Wars role-playing game with 3 players this time instead of 2. It was really fun, and it's going to be really great, and I hope you will like it, and we will have it to you hopefully next week, if not shortly after. But.
Yeah, well, I was looking at it, and I realized that obviously this is the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. And also, kind of silly, but these episodes come out on Fridays, or podcast comes out on Fridays, and I was like, we should do something for the 20th Order 66 Day. That's not a thing, but June 6th, 6/6, and the 20th of those since Revenge of the Sith came out. That sounds kind of fun. Let's try to kill some Jedi Padawans in an RPG one-shot. And so we did. Yeah. But did they die? Tune in to find out. Soon. Editing these things is a big task. But if you agree or disagree with any of our takes at all on these many Star Wars stories that we just kind of shotgun reviewed for you, let us know. Yeah. Put it in the comments below. Email us. Let us know if we're stupid or smart. And but in the meantime, remember, the Force of Others will be with you.
Always. The Force of Others. A Star Wars podcast.